right. And we are live. Welcome everyone to the stream. Probably should make sure that I'm live. Yesterday we left off building. I'll switch over to the coding screen. Yesterday we left off working on the navigation for our landing page, and I ran into some issues that I immediately solved after we were done. Yeah, so I'm excited to show you. I also worked ahead because I was so flustered yesterday and I didn't like that. So yeah, I really didn't like that. So I did work ahead. So let me show you. Let me adjust this window here and let me show you what the problem was. So here we have home, features, pages. Here's our sub navigation. And yesterday I couldn't get the sub navigation to stay open while I removed hover from the pages LI. And the reason that wasn't working, excuse me, the reason that wasn't working was because of the Z index. So let's take out that Z index, and you can see here, yeah, this is the problem we were having yesterday. So we need that Z index because it's position absolute. I would say, I don't know, 99% of the time, you really do need to have a Z index when you're using positioning. Not always relative, but absolute, sticky, fixed, things like that. You really do need to use a Z index, which determines the stacking order, because the positioning takes it out of the flow, and part of the flow is the stacking order, what order things appear, what order things get. So putting that Z index in fixed that problem. So yay. So let's talk now about what's happening here. Right here. So if we take out these two things here, and we just have a hover and an active, it still works. As long as we have our Z index, it still works. So why isn't that enough? Let me refresh the page. So the way that I generally test for accessibility is by tabbing through and making sure that each element that should get focus does get focus, which is why I don't write separate styles for focus. For years I wrote hover, active, focus, but when you style the focus, you generally take I want the default browser focus to be the style. I don't want to change those styles in any way. It's the best way I can think of. So I'm going to tab through. So we have home, features, pages, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. We go back to categories. So I know that each of those sub items is getting focus, but we can't see it. We need to be able to see it. Those things should open up. So let's put our focus within. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. What are we doing here? Stop. Oh, it's because they're both. Got it. So now that we have this focus within property, is that a property? Yes. Now let's see how it looks. I'll refresh the page. Home, features, pages. Now it opens. But ideally, as soon as we hit this top level, we are also opening the subnav. So this is an improvement where we can see the subnavigation tabbing all the way through, but this last style that says when the anchor link gets focus, the subnavigation that is a sibling, that's what the plus is a sibling, should also get these styles. So now let's see it in action. So now that top level has focus, plus it opened the subnavigation, plus we can tab through each of these items. So this is what I want. This is what I want to be able to see. So we were able to achieve this with our z-index 1, our focus state plus subnav, the subnav focus within, and then what I would call kind of the normal hover and active. And then I don't change anything else for the focus. The only focus that I change, I guess, well, no, we're just using the focus state and then changing the subnav style. So this does not mean that we're actually changing focus styles, which is what I don't want to do. I just want to have, oh, IntelliSense, stop. I just want to have the browser default focus state, which is the blue outline. That's what I want. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to do something called You Are Here navigation, which means that if we're on the home page, I want this home page link to be highlighted, whether it's a border or a background. You can see here that I created some styles on hover for the submenu items, and those styles are right here. Very simple, hover, active, just change the background color. I want to do this for the top level nav as well, which would mean putting an active class on each of these anchor links. And the way we do that is with a little bit of JavaScript. So I'm going to write a function that just says you are here, and let's see here. We're going to say const links equals document query selector all, and we're going to get all of the navigation anchor links, all of them, whether it's a top level or sub navigation. And query selector all takes all of them and puts them into one array. Next, we're going to say const href, and we're going to do the window location href. And this is the part of the JavaScript API. So if we go to the console, and you could do this on any web page, we'll go to the console and we'll just type window.location, and it gives us back this object with all of this information about the current window location. And we want the href, which is the URL of this page. And you can do this to any website. So we'll go to Amazon, we'll go to console, and we'll say window.location. And here it says the href is amazon.com. So that's what we want, is we want the complete URL of our website. And that's just part of the JavaScript API. Now we're going to say links for each link. We're going to say if the link.href equals href, we want want to say link dot class list dot add. Hang on. Class list add active. We're just going to put an active class. And link class list. Let's see here. Let me refer to my notes and make sure that I got this right. Document. We want to do document. Oh, we didn't initialize, that's why. There we go. So now you can see, well, in this example, everything is going to have a class of active because we didn't actually give our links. We didn't actually give our links unique URLs because this is just a one-page website. So just for the sake of argument, we'll go ahead and put in some links. Features. And this will be pages. Categories. About. And I'm just going to borrow these three here. There. Now each of these links has a unique link, so only the home screen, which is index.html, has the active class. Hang on. Features. Technology. Let's see here. Why does everything have an active class? Well, let's see here. All right, well, typo. I was reassigning href to link.href. So there you go. Yeah. All right. So now we have our active on the home link, which is index.html. There we go. Now we're working. Technology. Okay. So I want to make sure that anything with the active class also has the styles. So let me pull up my notes here. So any navigation ULLIA with, and it's going to be hover on the LI, triggering the anchor. It will be the same here for the active pseudo class, and it will be not quite the same here. It will be the LI A with a class of active. So all three of these things should do the same thing. They should have a background color of goldenrod, and we want to make sure that we change the color to black. Right now it's white. Let's also put a transition to animate that change. So we'll say transition background. Well, I think we can just do all. Transition all, we'll say 300 milliseconds ease in out. So that should, well, we'll take a look here. Oh, and it looks like we missed contact. Yes. There we go. So you can see now that anything with an active class changes the background to yellow and changes the text. And you can see here also that we have this nice transition on hover that changes the background and the text color. And you can see that our top level is continuing to stay. We want this top level to, even when the mouse moves away, also stay, what's the term I'm looking for? Lit? I don't know if that's it. I wanted to continue to have this background color and text color change even when I'm mousing or hovering into the submenu. I do want to change though some of the spacing. I know that we have 0.5 rems on the left and right, but I have 1 rem on the left and right for the submenu. So let's change that. It's going to pop this contact down to the bottom because we don't have enough room. So we'll go ahead and change that as well. So here's my padding. I'm just going to do 1 rem all the way around. And then we can change the width of our navigation overall, which is 60%. So let's just change it to 70. We've got more than enough room. They're still a little off though. I know that I'm pulling back to the left. I have negative left, I think 0.5. So I think if we change this to 0, it's going to push it back over and align the top level link name with these sub-navigation link names. So let's find that. Right here. So if we change this to 0, I think that will line it up. Yeah. That looks really nice. I like that a lot. That looks really nice. Let's see now how we do going to mobile. So here's you can see here that this is a little squishy. So I'm actually thinking that maybe we could change this width to, if we make it wider though, is it going to wrap sooner? Is what I'm thinking. So it holds up to not even 1024. It's popping in at like 1070. So we need this to hold up for another 100 plus pixels. I mean, my first thought is to just have less menu items. If we make it wider, is that going to support it? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to help anything, but let's just try it. And it's also, if we make it wider, it's just going to space it out more, but does that give it more room overall? Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was a better way to go. You can see when it comes back. I don't know if that matters. Let's try 85%. I'm going to go, what about 75%? I know that's the wrong direction. Okay, we'll stick with 80. We'll stick with 80%. I think that's fine. I mean, it really spreads it out though. So if we look at our header, here's our navigation. I mean, I think it's fine. There's more than enough room, especially if I do come back in and put an icon over here. But I have to say, this, even spread out like this, it does balance it, doesn't it? It sort of makes me feel like I wouldn't have to come back and put an icon there. Like this would be okay, just like this. So I do like this. Yeah, I think this looks nice. I'm good with this. Okay. That was a happy accident. I'll take a happy accident. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So now we have You Are Here navigation and styles. Our submenus stay open. Our top level menus also stay highlighted even when we mouse into the submenus. So that's really good. Let's just do a final test where we tab through. So tab, 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 tab. Okay, so So yeah, our focus state isn't changing the colors. I was deliberate about that, wasn't I? I mean, maybe we do want to add focus. I mean, adding focus doesn't remove the blue border, does it? No, it doesn't. So I think maybe I need to rethink that. So let's just add focus. Okay, let's add focus here. And then do we need to do it anyplace else? I don't think we need to do this anyplace else. Let's see. So when we focus on the LI, we should be triggering those styles. We aren't, though. So if I'm focused on the LI, oh, that worked. LI focus, that triggered it. Okay. But if I focus inside our development tools, it does trigger it. But if I'm focused with the keyboard, I'm gonna have to look into that. Let's ask ChatGPT. What is the difference between keyboard tab index and focus state? Okay, the purpose. Tab index attribute is to control the order in which the elements receive focus. Okay, I don't think I asked this correctly. When I use the keyboard to tab through the page, is that the focus state? Yes. When you use the keyboard to navigate through a web page, usually by pressing the tab key, the elements that you can interact with, such as links, buttons, and form fields, enter the focus state one by one. Focus state. As you press the tab key or shift tab to go backward, the browser moves the focus from one element to the next in the tab order. The currently focused element is in the focus state. Okay, that's what I thought, and is typically highlighted with a visual indicator like an outline, border, or background change. All right. Will this CSS change the focus styles? Will not change the focus styles as intended because it targets the wrong element. Okay, that makes sense. So we need to, yeah, okay. So the focus is on, okay, so let's do this. Yeah, that makes sense. There we go. So now we need to make sure so the focus state will change that top level. Now we need to make sure, I do have another set of styles here for this. So I think we can do the same thing here, because these pseudo classes are on the anchor link. So if we change this to focus, oh. So now we lost, but this is not continuing to stay. So I think we need to do focus with, I think we need to do the focus within. Is that right? So in the sub-navigation, focus within, I don't know if that's right. So was that, I don't remember, was that working before? No, that's okay. Okay, I'm pretty sure that we have to do focus within to trigger that, to keep this. That when we hover on, let's see what ChatGPT says. gosh, I don't know if this will work. No. I think that was it. There we go. Nice. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I want this top level to continue to have that focus. Hang on. To continue to have those styles. I mean, I think that you could make the case that something like this doesn't matter for focus states, because if you're using a screen reader, you probably can't see those things. So I don't know if those styles matter. I can tell you from my experience that if you overlook those or you rationalize not doing this type of styling, somebody will ask you to be consistent and make sure that that top level stays styled as long as you are inside, even if it's a focus state. I can tell you that somebody on your team, somebody on your leadership team will ask you to do that. So even if maybe it doesn't matter because you can't actually see it, or presumably the person using the screener can't actually see it, aesthetically, you will be asked to be consistent and do that. So, and I think it's a good idea to cover all these bases. And I haven't done this in a long time, but now that I'm so glad that I'm doing this again and relearning how to do this, because I do think it's a really important skill quality to have, to be consistent and to kind of cover all these bases. So, and it's fun. And I think front-end development is fun. So I'm good with this. Gosh, where are we here on time? It's been about 43 minutes. The other thing that I wanted to do was the thing that I thought we were going to spend our time on today was handling the mobile navigation. You can see here the way it opens. So I just don't think I'm going to do this today because the other stuff took up so much time. I think what I'm going to do, what I would like to do is this. I don't think it matters as much on desktop, although, I mean, so what I was thinking is I wanted to dynamically make it so that any menu item that had a submenu had a little caret, had a little something next to it to indicate that it had a submenu, and to do that with an SVG and make it totally dynamic. So basically, that little caret wouldn't show up unless that UL existed. So let's go ahead and do that and see how much longer we have. So icons, let's look for, I think we want a down arrow. Let's just look at arrows. Yeah, right here. This is what I want. Chevron down outline. What are my options here? So there's outline, filled, sharp. We'll take sharp. So we'll grab this SVG. Did it automatically download it? Let's see here. I don't think so. Are you going to ask me? There we go. Documents. Where are you? And we'll put it in with our assets. And what we want to do is let's back out of the way. The one thing that's tough about this is having everything on one screen. Okay, let's just move back to putting you down underneath here. Yeah. So anything, we're basically going to use a sibling selector. So it's going to be anchor link plus UL. If that UL exists, it will add the chevron. If the UL doesn't exist, then nothing happens. So let's go to, we're going to do, I'll just go down here and put it at the bottom. So we'll say dot navigation. Well, no, I guess I don't want to put it down here at the bottom because I know we've got some similar styles up here. We're going to go right here. So navigation ULLIA plus subnav. I don't think I have that anyplace else. I have the focus plus subnav, but we don't need that. And I'm going to use we could do this two ways. We could do content, a pseudo class before or after, or we could do background image. I'm going to do a pseudo class after. Content. I'm just going to leave empty quotes for now. And, well, no, let's go ahead and get this and pop it in here. And I know this needs to be encoded, so I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Here. I'm just going to put it in here and then ask ChatGPT to encode this. You encode this SVG. There we go. And I think we're going to have to change. So we have fill none, stroke current color. The current color is actually, well, technically it's going to be, I'm going to leave, well, so it's going to change on hover, which means I would need to, okay, we're going to leave that empty for now. Let's see if it even shows up. Yeah, and it's literally showing up all the way down at the end. So let's put it before. Yeah, let's put it before, and then I think it's just going to need some, it's just going to need some styling. So it's right here. So let's do, we know that we already have position relative on each of the LIs. So we should be able to put it after pages. So we'll say position absolute. We'll say top 0. Left, right. We'll say right 0. It's there. I know it's there. If we change this to bottom, where are you? Oh. Do I encode the #23? So let's just put in it's percent. I think it's just %23 FFF. So there it is. We know it's there. Okay, let's do this with thinking about doing this with a background URL. We know it's white. We know it's there. It's pretty big, 150 by 150. I think we need to put this on a different element. Mm-hmm. I know there's a way to do this with CSS. I've done it before. So much for being prepared, huh? I think that I'm going to work on this offline, and we'll tackle this next week. So if we have an anchor link with a sibling of subnav, I mean, we would have to use a pseudo class no matter what. I don't think it matters if you use content versus a background image. Yeah, it's not showing up because it's inside the subnav. So that won't work. We need that to show up. So it would really be probably the focus within again. So as long as there was focus within the LI, then you could do, yeah. So focus, as long as there's focus within the LI, then you can put that pseudo class after the anchor tag. There it is. And let's change it back to white. Well, I'm going to leave the stroke empty because we're going to need to change the stroke color. So let's do, well, we're not going to be, see, ideally you would be able to change the stroke color. We want it to be black on hover, but we want it to be white when it's not being hovered or focused or active. See, usually people use JavaScript for stuff like this. I know I've done this before with CSS though. But I don't think I've done it with, I don't think I've done it with an SVG. Probably what I've done it with is HTML symbols. Maybe this is a better way to go. Yeah. Okay, let's look for, maybe, what about carrot? No chevrons. I'm thinking that we just take this and we can twist it 45 degrees. Yeah. It's going to be a lot easier to... It's going to be easier to style. And then we can say color. We'll just say white for now. Yeah, you can see it up there. How do I encode this for CSS pseudo class? Oh, here we go. 0300355 slash 0355. Okay. There it is. So we can see it up there. That's good. That's what I want. So when we have focus, well, we don't want focus within. We literally just want I don't think this will work. No, that won't work. So I want the pseudo class. There's a reason why people use JavaScript to do this. So I want to add this as a pseudo class to the anchor, but only if it has sub-navigation that comes after it. CSS has some limitations. This is one of them. I should just do, so li see if I put it on the UL, it's not going to show up. Unless, can I just force it? Can I just display block it and force it? We'll say 25 by 25. Let's just see if we can force it. Hmm. Yeah, it's not going to work to put that afterwards. So we're really going to need to, probably going to have to do this with JavaScript, which is completely fine. Um, I have I have done this in the past with CSS, but how did I do this in the past with CSS? I mean, I feel like the problem I'm running into is how, oh, there it is. You can see there, it's popping up. The X is popping up on hover. See, I think the problem I'm running into is how we are hiding the submenus because we're doing it in this very deliberate, um, not deliberate, just the more thoughtful, accessible way to do it. And that is keeping anything from within that container from showing. Whereas in the past, I've always used display none or display block. I could still display block that one thing and get it working. I really want, yeah, I have to think about this. I'm clearly going to have to think about this, and look back at my notes, look back at previous projects that I've worked on where I've done this, because I've absolutely done this before. But we're hiding these sub navigation menus in a completely different way than I've ever hid them before. So I know that's why I'm running into this. So I think that I'm going to call it a day here. I really thought that this navigation was going to be done in one afternoon. I had no idea it was going to take this long. Um, but we're so close. Really, the last two things that I want to do are to make sure that there's a symbol, a caret, an arrow, next to the top level LI of any LI that has a submenu. Once we have that figured out, we'll be able to finish working on the mobile version, which is that these will also have a caret and that we'll be able to show and hide these things on hover or tap for a mobile device. So I'm going to work ahead again a little bit and figure out the best way to do that. I have a feeling that it's going to be a JavaScript solution because I don't know how to get a symbol in as a pseudo class for that subnav the way we're hiding the subnav. It won't even let me force it. Well, can I force it open using... Do we just reverse engineer? Let's try it. Okay, let's try it. Do we just reverse engineer the way we do here? Yeah. Um, let's try that. Well, it's there and it has width by default. So let's see if we can. Well, we need to change the color. So we want the color to be white. And we're going to have to change I don't know if that's working. Yeah, I don't know if that's working. Yeah, because it's positioned correctly, we should be able to see it, but it's only showing up on hover, and it should always be showing up. So that didn't work. Yeah, like I said, there's a reason why. Maybe if we put it, see, in CSS is so linear, right? The way you write your declarations are, you're just always moving in a forward path. You're always looking down the DOM. You're not really traversing back up the DOM necessarily. I think focus within is a good example of where you are going backwards a little bit, in a sense, where you're looking at the entire container. But for this, we can only move forward. So I can move forward and I can say anything, any anchor link with a sub navigation that comes after gets a style, gets a pseudo class, gets specific styles for a pseudo class. But if this sub navigation is being hidden in a way that doesn't let me see any of those things, and I can't force it open with display block, width, height, or specifically reverse engineering that pseudo class, as long as that subnav is still closed off and not being shown, the pseudo class is also not going to be shown. So, and I do have to go back and find, I'm going to have to go back and find a place where I've done this in the past. It's going to be a long time ago, but I'm sure that I've got it somewhere in my GitHub. So I'll see how I've done this in the past, because I know I've put classes on things where there was a sibling selector that it came afterwards. And I don't think I ever ran into this, but again, I was always hiding those subnavs with display none. That's how I've always done it in the past. So, okay, well, this is something to work on for next week. So I guess next weekend, my focus is going to be hopefully wrapping this up and then making sure that we have our subnavs styled for the mobile navigation. I mean, my God, if we can get those two things figured out next weekend, that'll be success. I mean, navigation's important, right? Navigation's important. So, and I'm glad that I'm doing this, because these are things that I want to get right, and I want to, keep fresh in my mind the right way to do this. So, if you're new here, my name is Angela. Thanks for joining me. I'm having so much fun doing these live streams. I think this is so fun. It's got me really excited about coding outside of work, which I haven't done in a very long time. At the beginning of my career, this was all I did. I would work at those first couple of developer jobs, and then I would come home and I would do this all night and every weekend. And I haven't done this in a really long time. And I wanted to sort of recapture this feeling of feeling excited about being a front end developer and staying fresh with my skills. And I've wanted to do a YouTube channel for a really long time. So I don't know if anybody out there is going to find this helpful. It's helpful for me just doing it. So I guess that's a win. Yeah, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment. And I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Yeah, take care, and I'll see you next weekend.